They do. They're in. I tried to call you, Lynn. It went right to voicemail on your cell this morning.
Sorry, I didn't see it.
That's all right. I'm ignoring my call. I had to go to someone else to get the question
What was
answered
your question?
on a claim. Or what was this? I'll show you real quick. Yeah, when you come back. Let's do this. Sorry. Dang it. Jeez. Oh, no. Here we go.
All right, I think we're ready.
I guess never mind.
All right, welcome everyone. We'll call the meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Let the minutes reflect, we are all here in person today. It appears to be no one joining us virtually, which is refreshing. Nice to see everybody. All right, let's move on to the approval of the minutes from the 16th, our last meeting. Those were presented. Jeff, I know you weren't here. George, did you see any?
I didn't see anything. Did you?
No.
So I'll make a motion to accept those minutes as presented.
I'll second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, thank you. Welcome to all our visitors. Good to see everybody this morning. Let's go into reports, oral and written communications. Wastewater payment has provided those adjustments they've made per our direction. No need for any action, just make note of those. Same thing, the fire chief, Warsaw Wayne Fire Territory has presented a 5-year capital facilities plan for your use and perusal. Just to note, he presented that at the Fire Territory meeting the other night. So, all right, with no unfinished business, we will move into new business. Item 1 is the bid opening for police vehicles, and Lynn, looks like you've got a couple.
I do.
All right.
We will start with this one because this is the first one we got. You want to hand that down to Joseph?
All right. All right, this sealed quote is from Curlin Ford. The per unit cost per vehicle of $33,570.72. And that's a total of three police vehicles at $100,712.16.
Could you read that final figure again, please, Joe?
$100,712.16.
Thank you. Do you like that one too?
And the second from Rice Ford. The single price is $34,032.32. Total for all three vehicles is $102,096.96. $102,096.96.
Thank you.
If there's anything else in here. All right, Scott, you want to take those under advisement?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
Well, can I take that, yes, not under advisement, can we actually review it during the board meeting?
And then come back and do that.
Yep. All right. All right, let's go on to item number 2. This would be a request for a street closure from 1 Warsaw for an event in September, I believe, September 18th. Travis McConnell represents 1 Warsaw, and basically they're looking at closing Center Street from Buffalo to Lake Street. Yes. All right.
Yes, this would be a repeat of our event that we did 2 years ago. And I guess we did it last year too, but it was just kind of a drive-through last year with COVID. So we didn't actually close the street. This is our Celebrating Us event. It's a big inclusion festival to spotlight our organizations here in town, bring people together, have different foods from different places, and just have a great time. So we're requesting to be able to block off the street here. The county's already agreed to let us use the lawn again, and then use the City Hall parking lot. It's the same sort of setup that we've done in the past. So, and hopefully it'll be live this year.
Yeah, and I assume that you've gotten hold of our event coordinator, Paula. As far
I
as-
don't believe I have yet, but we
Yeah,
talk
you'll
on
need
a
to do
regular
that
basis. So,
as far as
yeah.
getting things taken care of, the restrooms opened and that type of thing,
Yeah.
so. But as far as the road closure, gentlemen, any concerns?
I move to accept.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So Travis, you know what your responsibilities are as
Yes.
far as getting hold of emergency dispatch and letting them know when you close and then when you reopen.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you, appreciate it. Hope the weather's nice.
Meet you.
All right, item number 3 came before the Warsaw Wayne Fire Territory Board and was approved on the 4th. This is just an engagement letter with Baker Tilly to provide financial consulting services. I don't know that this is any different than the past. Any questions of Chief on that?
No.
Anything to add?
No, sir.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed? All right. Next item is a inspection services agreement. And I'll let you explain that. This was also approved by the Warsaw Wayne Fire Territory Board on May 4th.
When you put a sprinkler system in a building, it has to have annual and every 5-year different type of inspections. So we looked at a couple different companies. We decided to go with the one that actually did the installation during construction. So this is, if you look at your second page, that price break is a little different. You'll see there's a first year, and I think I also put it in the bottom paragraph of the cover letter, is one price, and it goes up a little bit each year. So it's like $265 for this year, and then it goes up to $325 and $340. And then there'll be another contract after that. So we took this to Territory Board for approval, and we're coming to you today for approval. It's a requirement by Indiana Fire Code to do it.
The cost escalators, that's kind of a significant bump every year.
It's a little bit different each year, and then the last year is actually the inspection where they got to go in and actually physically look at every pipe, and they do some interior openings of pipes to make sure that there's nothing wrong with the interior of the pipe.
So you're saying that the inspections are different every year?
Correct. So the first year, the only thing that, he's did a cost increase between 2021 and 2022 to pick up also a backflow preventer inspection on the domestic. And then the third year is the 5-year inspection that's required of the interior portions of some of the pipe, just to make sure you don't have a problem on the interior pipe. So the whole 3 years is $930, but it's broke down $265 for the first year, $325 for 2022, and $340 for 2023.
Well, I know it's not a big amount, but, you know, it's a almost 23% increase, and it doesn't show on the contract any difference in services. In fact, the services for 2022 and 2023 are blank. So I don't know if that makes a difference, but just pointing that out. You guys have any concerns about that? All right.
I move to accept.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? I mean, I'm good with the approval. I think it might be helpful if they at least had a letter or something to attach to this that explained what they're doing and
Okay.
that requires, I mean, if it's just a cost escalator, 22% is a lot. If they're
Yeah.
doing more work, that makes perfect
It's
sense.
more work,
Okay,
but we can have them do that, so we have
Yeah, I
a
think
copy
that'd
of
be
it
a
in our
good idea.
file. Yes.
all right. All right, item number 5, again, also approved at the Fire Territory Board. This is a agreement with the DNR, who's got some surplus storage containers that Fire Territory feels like they may use. And this is to basically accept those containers.
Yeah, there are 4 8x10 storage containers, shipper container types that have become excess equipment. Indiana Department of Natural Resources publishes a list of inventory that they have that they receive from military and from other locations. They're available to fire services and law enforcement services. We looked at the list and know that we have a storage problem out at the training center, so we put in for 4 of them, and if you approve it, we'll receive 4 new storage units at no cost as a part of their surplus program.
So those containers will set on a foundation that you've created for them? Or they just
Correct.
sit-
So they're a regular metal shipping container. We have a gravel base now at wastewater treatment plant, and there's going to be railroad ties that we set in that gravel base to keep it up so that they're not sitting in water.
So there will be a small cost to prepare that?
Actually, we already have the areas prepared because the construction is going on out there, and we already have the railroad ties.
Okay. Questions?
I'll move we approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, thanks, Mike. Building and plan, looks like a pay application for the Lincoln Sidewalk project. This is engineered right-of-way services.
Correct. So we have, actually, this is, right-of-way services, pay app number 4, in the amount of $7,682.50. So that's, again, just part of that acquisition of a few parcels that we needed to complete the sidewalk
And just
alignments.
as a reminder, are these $80-20?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Questions?
I move to approve.
Second?
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? I think it's helpful on these, if you mark that, it just makes us
Okay.
understand that 80% of that's coming back. I think it's just helpful to the board.
Right.
Next item, this would be more preliminary engineering for that same project.
Yeah, and this is pay app 24, so the PE portion of this contract is winding down, so we're nearing the end. Most of that, the design work has been completed, so we're just, again, this pay app is for the amount of $2,680.
And, we always assume it's 80-20, it usually is, but I know there was some concern, or not concern, but initially there wasn't like that guarantee that, I think it was right-of-way services would be covered, or, so just, I think as the contract goes along, that becomes established, and I think that's where it's helpful to know.
There are elements that are 80-20 for the most part, but it's a frustration that we do have with some of these contracts
Yeah.
where if there is any change after the initial award, that 80-20, they won't cover certain percentages over.
Sure.
So it is a little complicated. Sometimes for the next ones, I could bring exact numbers to show you guys where that 80-20 goes and where it stops. Because there is a portion of the PE and there is a portion of the right-of-way services that exceed that 80-20 that NDOT will provide.
I mean, I don't think we need to dig that deep, other than to know if something is reimbursable that way, or if we're paying the whole thing, or
Yeah, but
less than an 80-20 split.
Yep.
Okay. Questions?
No, I move to accept.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Justin, you're also up on an encroachment agreement at 321 West Main.
Correct. So this is for a resident at 321 West Main. They would like to establish an encroachment agreement with the city to allow a fence to be in their front yard and encroach into the public right-of-way. This is not something we typically do as a city, but their neighbor to the west also has this arrangement dating back to 2009. So we figured we'd bring this to the board since they requested the ability to do that. West Main has a relatively wide right-of-way. It's about 80 feet wide. About 45 feet of that is actually used for the roadway and the sidewalks. A little bit more than half of their front yard is in that public right-of-way, if you see the diagram there. So they would just like to put a nice decorative fence in their front yard, just to kind of enclose that. They will have to adhere to any visibility clearance requirements with the fence. So since they are a corner lot, that would be a consideration as well. I just request that the board consider approving this encroachment agreement.
I think the diagrams are down at the bottom. You can get an idea of how far they're going to pop it out. It looks like a very nice fence, attractive fence. Is 313, are they the ones that have the fence that's out that would be comparable?
It'd be to the west, so I'm not sure of the address, but it would be actually a business.
Oh, okay.
G&G.
Got it. All right, questions?
Looks like a wide right-of-way, and then the neighbor has a similar agreement, so I'll move to approve.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Justin, you've got another one. This would be an encroachment agreement that was discussed at City Council the other night, that has been reviewed there and approved.
Yeah, so this went before the Traffic Safety Commission, and they reviewed it
Traffic Safety
for its compliance to, different traffic and safety concerns that may come up by having an uncontrolled intersection or uncontrolled egress and ingress into a parking area. They are requesting, they currently have an existing parking area in front of their business, but they would like to expand it and actually improve it for their employees. So with that, I'll turn it over to Steve Snyder. He'll kind of explain Warsaw PVA's logic behind this and what exactly they're planning to do.
Yeah, and thank you for correcting me. It wasn't council, it was the Traffic Commission that listened to and made an approval of that request.
Thank you. I apologize. I, for some reason, brought 2 copies, and I'm not sure whether you had an opportunity to look at that.
Yeah, it's in,
Yeah.
I've got
We got it.
them digitally.
Okay. The PEA owns the 2 lots, 167, 168. They've had a parking area on the street side. It's essentially gravel and some gravel dirt. They want to improve it for the benefit of their employees and their customers, so that they have a solid surface that is always accessible. And the area they've used has been a portion of the right-of-way of Hendrick Street forever, and they just want to improve it. So the encroachment agreement provides that they can improve it, they can maintain it. It would go out essentially 25 feet into the right-of-way, but again, it's an exceedingly wide right-of-way, and it would be nothing more than asphalt pavement. If the city decides it needs to do something with Hendrick Street, the encroachment agreement provides you give us 90 days notice and you can do whatever you want because you own the right-of-way. We merely own the land under the right-of-way. But from a practical standpoint, they have no other place to park. And they merely want to make an improvement to their parking area.
Traffic Commission recommended that this favorable.
Yeah, I think there are many examples of this type of parking in the city. Some maybe a little bit more obtrusive, if you will. This seems to be on a very minimally traveled road. It does give them the opportunity now with the purchase of this corner property to expand their parking for their employees. I don't think there was really, I mean, everything's covered as far as it just being an encroachment agreement and not turning this over, so, and they've been kind of functioning that way on the other property for many, many years.
Justin, any comments? You good? No?
No, it was discussed at length in the traffic commission. We did bring up some potential issues, but again, like Joe mentioned, there are areas in town where this less than ideal parking arrangement is practiced, and there don't seem to be any major concerns with how minimally traveled that road is.
I move to approve.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you would email me a signed copy, I'll take care of recording it.
all right. Item 10, you're still up, Justin. This is the
Yeah.
outdoor seating approval.
Yeah, so just one more for you guys. This is, every year we do these outdoor seating agreements, and the main issue with regarding these is just to make sure they comply with ADA standards. We know how important outdoor seating is after this last year. But this outdoor seating agreement is for 110 Craft Meadery. They'd like to continue to use their outdoor space on the public sidewalk. We just make sure that it's ADA compliant. We had a couple little pinch points that we addressed as of this morning, so they're fully compliant with the ADA requirements that the city's established, as well as the other requirements that go with those agreements. So I would just ask that you approve 110's outdoor seating agreement this year.
Justin, I appreciate you facilitating this discussion and working with them. All the restaurants have had very difficult times, and this gives them another avenue to provide service, if you will. And it's done well, and I think we really have shown our support, and I appreciate your work on that. With that,
I'll second that and move to approve.
Second.
any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
May I ask Justin a question?
Sure.
Justin, I was in Bloomington with my son in the fall, and I remember a presentation that was made by the plan department that, outdoor seating, but in Bloomington, they had the seating, it was like the portable on, like where cars park. Has there been any discussion with restaurants here in town where that would be something that we would even consider someday, or?
Are you talking about sitting
They
in
take
the
like 2 parking spots and they're mobile, and it was really nice where we ate. It was just a nice thing. And again, it looked like it could be moved to another restaurant. That restaurant could do it, or it could be the city working with several restaurants. This week we're over here, and I just thought it was a neat thing. And I remember discussion, I was talking to my family, where this is really neat. And with this presentation, I just remembered that.
Yeah, we've even tried a pilot project with the alley to have a bump out into the right-of-way just to see how that would work with bike parking. We're definitely open to the idea. We just want to make sure it's executed properly.
Right.
So if somebody brings a plan for that to the planning department, we'll definitely consider that, take a look at it. We just want to make sure it's done safely and it's not obstructing anything in the roadway. But we have looked at that as parklets, but
Okay.
we see the necessity that outdoor seating has, especially during times where people aren't able to be indoors. Yeah,
But no one has come to you at this point asking for that.
not yet, no.
Okay.
Justin, we had the discussion about parklets. I remember you introduced the idea when we did the alley.
Right.
And even a little before then. And it could be, I think, isn't it more of a temporary type of where you could create actual just event space, outdoor space, wouldn't even necessarily have to be restaurant space. I think
Yeah.
there was some flexibility with that. So, yeah.
I just But, you know, at the square there in Bloomington, I'm like, boy, this is.
I know a lot of communities are
nice,
getting
yeah.
really,
Yeah,
they're trying to figure out
Yeah.
and getting creative on how they assist restaurant partners to,
and I wouldn't have been able to eat at that restaurant unless they had the outdoor seating. They said, all we have, sir, is.
you mean they wouldn't let you come inside?
Yeah, they took one look at me, he's eating outdoors, but my point is, it was really nice, and I thought, you know, okay, thanks, Mayor.
But we definitely work with any restaurants or business owners that wanted to look at creating those spaces outside. So we do see a value in those public spaces and would love to see more. So.
Yeah, and thank you for your work on that. So the issue at hand is the, just basically the recertification of their plan. Is there a motion to approve?
Did we do that?
Yeah.
I think we did.
Okay, all
I think we're
right.
good.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right.
Thank you, Mayor.
Justin, just to remind me, did they do that every year? You go out and just kind of look at what they're doing and make sure it's,
Yeah, they did some improvements this year. 110, they built some more sturdy wooden boxes. They had some posts last year that were a little bit less sturdy. So they have a really nice setup over there now. Really excited to see how that goes for them this year. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Joel, this is a permission to receive grant money.
Back in March, I requested permission to apply for a stop arm violation enforcement grant. We were just notified that we did get some money, and it's going to be administered through the Traffic Partnership to Winona Lake. The grant was for $20,200. We were hoping for more than that, but that's what we have. Our portion for Warsaw will be $3,700, non-matching funds, and we're seeking permission to accept the money.
All right. Just a quick question. Those funds are used to basically pay for someone that will observe stop arm violations? How's that work?
Yes, right now what we're doing is we're using unmarked cars and we're following buses. And we're in coordination with the Warsaw schools, and we're stopping people who go around buses.
Got it.
It's safety for our kids. It's very, very effective.
All right. Questions?
I move to approve.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Here's another request for permission to apply for a Homeland Security grant.
Yeah, Warsaw Police Department is requesting permission to apply for Homeland Security in the amount of just over $100,000. We're looking for radios. I have a Scribner's error on that letter. It says cameras, and it should be radios. And so I'll have to make sure that that's, for our grant application, that's correct. This goes in, works together with the radios that we have purchased just recently within the last year or two through the city, and it also works with the new towers that are going up county-wide. And these are going to be mobile radios that will go in our police cars.
So Whitney did make the adjustment and provide a copy of that to Lynn. That, as you say, was a Scribner's error and replaces dash-mounted cameras with mobile radios.
This grant is also non-matching as well.
All right. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joel. Brian?
Joe, can you remember to start with number 100 rather than the 100?
Pardon me?
Start with the 100.
Oh, 100,
Yeah,
okay.
please.
So we're going to go down to item 15. Lynn wants to go in order, which would be SRF number 100. Excuse me, it's Wessler Engineering grant. This would be payment application, SRF.
Yeah, this is the Wessler for the construction oversight project representative.
All right, in the amount of $45,366.59. Any questions?
No.
I move to approve.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, we'll jump down to item number 16, which is a number 101, next one in order, which is also, appears to be a engineering disbursement.
Yeah, this is for the asset
Construction.
management plan that we've been working on with Baker Tilly and Wessler.
All right, in the amount of $9,984.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, then let's move up to item number 13, which would be number 102, which is a little bit bigger. This is construction dollars, $1,022,429 to Kokosing.
Yes, this is for work they've performed since the last pay up, and it's been reviewed by our engineers and our staff and recommending payment.
So we're getting pretty close.
Who actually signed off on the payout?
Well, Joe hasn't signed off on the,
Who's the engineer that signed off?
James Ripple.
Use,
Well,
I'm trying to find the signature.
that's the notary.
Is it Jody Williams?
Oh, Jody Williams, yes.
Okay. So I'm just looking at page whatever. I didn't see a signature on it.
I think the one that got loaded was the wrong one, but then we got the signed one to the clerk's office.
Oh,
It's signed, it's just hard to
So
tell.
this one's signed, okay.
All right.
Just want to make sure that,
I think the one that got loaded onto the board pack was an unsigned one.
all right. Any questions?
I move to approve.
I'll second that.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Thank you, Brian.
Now we skipped one somewhere, I don't remember what number it was.
The camera truck.
Yeah, the camera truck's
14.
next, or that software.
This is the software we use in the truck and in the office to review the pipe, grade the pipe, record it. It's what gives us our documentation that we can go back to at a later time. If you go to I believe it's the last page, it's sort of a comparison of the different software systems we looked at. There was there's 5 of them. WinCam gave us 2 options, a lease or a purchase option. Currently, we're using PipeLogix, but their technology sort of isn't as, we bought that 10 years ago, and they maybe haven't kept up with it. And if you kind of look at all the check marks, the IT Pipes checks all the box. Some of the more important boxes is it works well with our elements that the city's sort of developing as our overall asset management. That's a very narrow term for what that software actually is. This does a lot of the legwork that currently, like, the guys will have to come in to Mary to make corrections to GIS, to our mapping system, and this will take a lot of those steps out of the system. So it just was the best software that we found. We did run it through the committee, and they agreed with us that that was the best software that we should purchase. Price-wise, it's pretty competitive. They do have that $18,000 as an annual maintenance cost, so it was a higher maintenance cost than the others. But it definitely is the best software for what we want to do with it.
Does the software include video storage, or is that something separate, Mary? I'm just curious, because I know in body cams, for example, it's not the cost of cam, it's the storage of the data is the big cost.
And this offers a cloud storage.
Yeah, we can do it on our server or in the cloud.
Okay. But is that a part of the cost, that feature?
To host it in the cloud is like an additional $3,000.
with Pipe Logic, are we currently doing that?
No, it's hosted on a server,
Okay,
and it's a tremendous memory hog.
exactly. Yeah, that's why I asked that, because it sounds like if you got a better system, it probably means more data.
When the server was put in City Hall, our server was 100% full. We couldn't put any more information on it, and we've tied in here, but it is a huge data hog. And another advantage, this program improves the migration of that information into the new program, so.
Okay. Well, I'm certainly not an IT expert,
I'm
and
not
I
either.
trust the
That's why I
IT
brought
group.
Mary.
I know I'd mentioned to you all, we formed an IT governance committee within the city that all these purchases are going to go through, and I think it's very useful, and it's going to ensure that we're doing the right thing and not working against each other, so, and Mary's part of that group, and really appreciate her work on that group, so. All right, so any questions?
No, I'll move to approve the software update. Second.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? With the endorsement of the IT Governance Committee.
We did, yesterday, we received our new camera truck, so.
Oh,
We're
good.
excited about that. It's a $450,000 piece of equipment. Thank
All
you.
right. Thanks, Brian, appreciate it. All right, I think we're down to item 17. This is wage hire update. I looked through that. The good amount of these are either seasonal or replacements or premiums for obtaining different skills, licenses, and shift changes, correct?
You are correct. And also the two officers, Mason and Page, they will be sworn in at the next Board of Works.
Oh, good.
ceremony.
Good deal.
They've gone beyond non-probationary status. So I did have a question. Brett Williman is listed as Assistant City Planner, but under explanation it says return/summer hire.
You are correct. He's going to be doing a lot of work in the planning department, and we don't have a summer intern spot on the salary ordinance, so we just hire him in for that.
Oh, so he's not our new Assistant City Planner.
No, he's going to be working as an intern. Same with Sarah. We just needed to put a code, classification in for those two individuals.
Okay.
so.
All right. I got confused when I saw Assistant City Planner.
No.
All right.
No, your full-time assistant city planner starts in just a couple weeks.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, questions?
I move to accept all as presented.
Second?
All right. Any further discussion or questions of Jennifer? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, I guess we can go to the bid opening for the Ford Interceptors. Scott, I believe you and the city engineer reviewed those bids for their compliance. Do you have a recommendation to the board?
Yes, to go with the lower of the two, which was Curlin Motors, I think it's just about $460 per car. And I would say that, I guess, in advance or at the time, that this be a tentative agreement, because we're hearing the availability of these cars may not be so readily available. And if that's the case, we may have to, so once we contact Curlin and find out what that timeline would be, we may have to come back and solicit for bids for a different type of vehicle.
Is there a possibility that there may be an availability at the second bidder? And if that's the case, does that change anything?
The second bidder has notified us that they do have similar cars, but not the same cars that we solicited.
Okay. I'm curious how that works. If
But it would be for us probably to reach out to see what vehicles are available with whatever options are in those vehicles, and then we'd come back and have to solicit these bids for vehicles with those specific options.
Well, I guess if we're not certain of the availability, is it wise to make a move on this? Is there time sensitivity to this?
I mean,
James, I'd ask for your recommendation. I know you have done a lot of work with these, and I guess if someone gave us a bid for something that wasn't available and the second little bit higher bid had them available, does that change the bidding process?
Well, yes, it would. I mean, it could at that point, but that's not how these are. the second bidder has indicated there's maybe difficult, he doesn't have them on the lot. And right now in manufacturing these chips that run cars, they're just not making the vehicles. Not just these, just vehicles in general. What we don't know is if Curlin has them on the lot. They're the low bidder. And what the chief is saying is if they're not on the lot and we're an unknown delivery date, we're not going to award to anybody. The second low has offered an alternate vehicle, of which they have 2 on the lot. But I don't know how we accept those without at least engaging with Curlin to find out, does he have these cars? Then I defer to Scott. If both of them had a different vehicle on the lot, but that's not the vehicle we advertised, I think we would have to scrap this and re-advertise for these other vehicles.
Well, another possibility, I know in the past, sometimes a dealer can get a car from another dealer.
Correct.
So there might be an availability there, and it might be where they could get 1 or 2 and we take what we get. I'm a little hesitant to,
But to answer your question, maybe it does make sense to just hold this till the next meeting so we can get a hold of Curlin and find out what the availability of vehicles are. Because it could very well be that we won't accept any of them because they're
I
just
feel a
not
whole
there.
lot better about that. I don't know about you guys.
And the others, I mean, even with the second low, they've got 2 alternate vehicles. We were going for 3. So it changes the whole what we were asking for enough, I think, that we would want to re-solicit.
But
I would agree. I think that your bid is for 3. And I think I would feel much more comfortable if you found out that 3 would be available.
So if you go back and do your due diligence on what's available and what's not, then you can come back and make a recommendation to us that, and then we'll go from there. I'd feel a whole lot better about that.
I would too. I'm just asking protocols. They've presented these bids, and I don't know how all that works, okay? And you have told us that you're interested in one over another. Can those discussions, I'm just wanting to make sure it's fair play, that we're looking at the one we're attracted to, but we're not going to take it, but we want to keep talking to you and maybe not anybody else. I'm just wanting to make sure they can take action. You're comfortable with them taking action with Curlin, continuing to talk, and maybe even the other dealer.
I think I'd be comfortable with you guys saying, I'm accepting the bid from Curlin subject to all 3 vehicles being made available by a reasonable date. And if you want to also say, if that's not available, then we would accept the second bid subject to those vehicles being made available by a reasonable date, if you have a date certain in mind. But I agree with what you say, Jeff, as far as the bids are in. Don't think you can renegotiate the value of those bids. And I think if those vehicles, it turns out, are not available within a reasonable time, you should resubmit the bids for what vehicles might be available.
Is there a date, like would you say we would need to have them in 2 weeks, 3 months, 6
Well, what I
months?
heard from one of the dealers was that, they were thinking maybe out in September, but then there's an unknown. It could be 12 weeks past that, which, there's so much unknown with the chip, so it kind of concerns me to go to an ordering aspect at all, but to actually look for cars that are on lots this year. So, kind of agreement, maybe just get down and
I mean, if we ask them to take the bids under advisement, we've done that before. And I would guess that would be part of your review of those bids, but I don't, like you
I would
said.
certainly say the most important thing on a bid is that the product's available.
Right.
I don't think anybody can dispute that.
Yeah.
And
On a lot of vehicles, we've been doing bids and it's been 9-10 months before we even get a year before we even get the vehicle. And that's been happening for the last year or so, or
there are
2
other
years.
manufacturers, obviously, that make slot cars, so if we have to go look at for a year, look at Dodge, or look at,
A different, then you start over again. Okay.
I'm just wanting to do everything we can here, public, to help you get those cars that you're wanting. And
yeah, we just definitely want the vehicles ready to go by the time we start hiring officers.
How long do you wait for new cars now after you've done bids, Scott? It's usually a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's usually like a 3 month process, so I mean, if I knew September 1, they're for sure going to be there, that'd be fine, but
Right.
if there's no guarantee of that, then, it's been like that the last, at least last year's order, and even the year before that.
I know it takes a while, you don't get them right away.
But, yeah, I don't know what kind of situation we're in, but you look at the dealers, their lots are very much,
Yeah, it's a different situation.
yeah, they're not full, that's for sure.
I think that they're conferring, but would you want us to put like he said, a date that we would, if he goes that direction, you want us to say by September, and if they can't, then you can walk away from them?
We
I
can
just
do
wanna
that.
get-
I'm guessing they're going to say that they can't hold to that because
Right.
there's an unknown to them. So I almost think if I go back and say, can you guarantee the first, and then if they're not able to come through with it, it's not going to be their fault. And so how do you hold somebody accountable for that date
Right.
when the manufacturing process has been slowed?
All right.
Okay.
After conferring with city attorney, I think that we take it under advisement today, allow you to get more information, and I would request that from you all, and then at the next meeting, hopefully we'll have a little bit more information, and then we can make the decision. You may find out there's certain time periods that we need to take into account.
Yeah, and I'd say just for openness to the public, it's
Right.
whether or not the bid is responsive is whether or not they're able to satisfy the bid within a reasonable period of time. So that's an answer they may not directly know. It sounds like either of the bidders may know. So I think.
And that's not a bid spec as far as the delivery date. Yeah,
Maybe it
No,
needs
we
to
did
start
not have a
another way.
delivery date
Yeah.
timeline in there.
yeah.
And the other part that's complicating is the data on the bid, talking about the chips and the potential, is from the second low. But we've heard that from an industry, so I'm very comfortable with just delaying the recommendation for award until the next meeting. Give us a chance to talk to the low bidder, see what the availability, get all of the facts about what his bid means.
I think these two bids are uber close.
Yeah.
They're both local. I think we owe it to dig a little bit deeper into this. And the only thing that maybe I would suggest, and again, it's easy for me to grandstand now, is that in future, make sure you get delivery dates maybe as part of the spec, or at least as not as part of the spec, but something to take into consideration. Because I know in the past-
I wouldn't want that to be a condition of award particularly, because I don't know that these guys, when they're delivering vehicles like this, most of them aren't on the lot. So they've got to go out and either find it or order it. In most cases, they're ordering it, and it's out of their control as to when that delivery comes. So we may be asking them to give us something they can't stand behind, and then they don't fulfill that because out of their control. So maybe we do it something within 6 months, but.
Okay, that's fine, that's reasonable, but I can
We
see
can,
how
we
it
can look
becomes.
into that, but for this particular one, I think we need to find, it's more than just the typical delay that's in play right now. It's whether anything's being manufactured.
Yep.
And if nothing's being manufactured, then I'm curious as to what good does it do to even award a contract for a vehicle that we have no idea, the 22s could be out by the time this thing comes around. They may not ever
I
make
agree.
any more of the 21s.
And then we'd save a lot of money at the police department.
Yeah. Sure, find some way to spend it.
All right, is there a motion to take the bids under advisement?
That's what okay, so moved.
Second.
All right, any further discussion?
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye. Thanks, gentlemen, I appreciate it. It's a little bit of a complication here and a little extraordinary circumstances, so it makes sense to, I think, dig a little deeper. All right. All right,
Special claims.
yes, there was one.
There was one. There is one.
This is the hangar door out at the airport. It's a $60,000, $629.40 to Robinson Construction. Is there a motion to approve?
Is that all completed?
No.
No.
This is just the first payment.
The first payment toward the, all right, I'll move to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Lynn, I appreciate you putting on a special claim. I know this has been a time-consuming process. It's certainly important to get this done, so thank you. And then the regular dockets, I think there are 3.
I tried,
Regular monthly pension, but go ahead.
Questions?
I tried to call Lynn this morning, couldn't get her, but
I saw who was calling.
yeah, she blocked my call. But what are the G Suite licenses for council? What are they?
That's for Google.
Google.
For basically what you're looking at right now, I believe.
Oh, okay, all right, I saw that for
Is that correct,
4,600.
Joe? Or is it?
Google Suite, I think, is the whole
Okay.
email, everything. It's
G Suite, I should.
Mary.
know.
Yeah. We need a IT governance committee member on the Board of Works to help us through all this.
I didn't see anything else, did you?
No.
Did you think it was a different type of suite?
Well, I didn't know, that's why. I
Something.
keep-
It's a good question.
Yeah, it is.
It's a good question.
Didn't say Google, or I probably would have known. But, yeah, that was it. I got my other question answered, so hearing no others, I'll move, we approve the claims dockets.
Second?
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. I believe we're at the end of our agenda. Are there other items to be brought forward? Okay. Questions or comments from anyone? All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you.